All right, well, let's get started, guys. I'm just going to let you guys fire questions at me, and I'm going to answer the best I can. Blue skies to you too, Bill. And two, while you guys are typing in there, punch in where you are. Where's home? What state? What country? Be kind of cool to know. Hey, Adony. I hope so. I hope we're learning. Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it. Yeah, it is primetime streaming in the U.S., that's for sure. That could cause a little bit of a lag. All right, Miami, Quebec, North Carolina, Louisville. All right, first question, how did I get into color grade? About 10 years ago. I've been an art director at in advertising agencies for about 28 years. And about 10 years ago, I decided I wanted to learn how to cut and edit. And so I did that on my own. I bought the applications, and I did kind of like you guys are doing. I learned from people that I thought had something to teach me, that were good in my eyes and were good mentors. And you know, fast forward 10 years later, I have started a videography department at the advertising agency that didn't exist before I started it. So I'm pretty lucky I get to do what I love for a living. Hey, Efren from Spain. I have tried the Osmo Plus, and it's very cool. How long does it take you to do post on an aerial video? The color correction part of it, each scene usually takes me about 20 minutes, something like that maybe. Now that's if it's a straightforward scene. If I have to put traveling mats and color masks and stuff like that, a scene could take an hour and a half, something like that. What interests me in addition to color grading, I love music. A lot of the music that you guys hear in my videos are compositions that I have done. That way they're royalty free, and I can control, you know, the pitch and the tempo and the crescendo and things like that. I play guitar. I love astronomy. I'm a PlayStation 4 nerd. I love playing video games. Always have, always will. Let's see. Well, I appreciate that, Dan. I don't know. I mean, I have to share my knowledge because people shared it with me. You know, I mean, I learned it from someone, and I enjoy sharing that knowledge with other people and learning too. I'm still learning. I haven't arrived or graduated, so I appreciate the compliment. Let's see. Haven't tried the Osmo Mobile. Throw back at your old V3 videos. Let me tell you, instead of Samsung. Oh, thanks. Thanks for a compliment. Who was that? Phantom Life. I appreciate it. No, you didn't miss the party, Mark. I see ya. How do you know when you have overgraded the colors of video? Because after 30 minutes of touching the lumetri, it's really confusing when it looks right or done. That is a great question, Effin. You got to get away from your piece. I don't sit for more than 30 minutes when I'm color grading, because you're right, your eyes become numb, and you can't make good judgment calls. Get away from your piece for 20 minutes, walk away, and get out of the light that you're in. Even this room tints my vision a little bit, and I got to get away and come back to it after 20 minutes. And it's funny, after 20 minutes, you'll walk back to it and you'll look at it and you'll see right away what you need to fix. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, PS4 does rock. I have noticed during your demos that you use shots that are straight on the subject. How do you handle scenes that change in lighting and color? Eric, that's a great question, because I purposefully try to use only cuts where the lighting doesn't change, because you can't really change exposures as a quad shifts around from a darker area to a brighter area. that's almost impossible to try to make an exposure change, you know, where it looks like where you can't see the change. So I always, I think it's kind of rule of thumb to use straight, clean, steady shots, pointed it in a specific direction, unless the piece requires that. You know, if you're doing something that requires the sun to be revealed, so you'd pan around and ta-da, there's the sun. But I stay away from that. It's difficult. And two, you guys saw the video about my friend Kevin, who does this professionally for a living. Same thing for him. He locks on a shot, sets the exposure for that shot, cuts the shot, and then positions again, sets the exposures for that shot, and so on and so forth. Let's see, area photo platform. Is it better to shoot 4K 24 frames, 4K 30 frames, 1080 60? I prefer to shoot in 4K at 24 frames per second, because that way there's a little bit more natural cinematic motion blur if I'm near objects. But that said, if I want to reinterpret the footage so I get slow motion, and I mean true slow motion, so what you do in Premiere, this is a great trick. Shoot something at 60 frames per second, say 1080 at 60 frames per second. Right-click on that file within Premiere and click on Reinterpret Footage. When that box comes up, type in 23.976. That will pull everything out. It'll spread those 60 frames out per second to 23.976, and you will have real, true slow motion. It's beautiful. And that's great for ramping up shots and ramping out of shots using that slow motion. I think the Mavic Pro is killer. I love the Mavic Pro. It's great. The Mavic Pro is a great piece of equipment, and you know, it's designed for a whole different specific need, which is portability, which you can't beat. Hold on, I'm trying to keep up with you guys. Bob, as far as, you know, basic color theory that evokes emotions, I mean, that's what you're talking about doing. Anytime the edits that I do for clients or myself or whatever, my goal is to evoke an emotion, and so the emotion has to be determined. If it's lonely and cold and desperate, I use heavy blacks and a lot of blue. I pull out all the yellows. If it's something joyful and celebrative and fun and festive, I usually push the mids and the highlights up into the yellow range, and I pull the opposite way on the shadows, so I maintain kind of a cinematic look. But pushing the mids and highlights up to the yellows really lifts everything and makes it a bright and warm and friendly and inviting shot. I hope that answers your question. Let's see. Hello from Texas. Hey, Tom. How did you get over the professional hurdles early in your career and not get stuck in the mundane task jobs the rest of your life? How much risk moving through the ranks? You know, Tom, there are mundane tasks in every job. You know, I have a job that I love, and it's a great job, but make no mistake, it's a job, you know. And don't mean to sound ungrateful, because I am grateful for what I do for a living. It is a creative thing. I've always been a creative person, and so I'm pretty lucky that I get to do this kind of stuff and someone actually pay me money to do it. But I don't know, as far as the creative hurdles, you know, it's stupid to say, it's a cliche to say, but man, it's really true. When you get knocked down, get back up hard, you know, and use the knockdown to your advantage. Look at it honestly and see where you failed. Be honest with yourself. And that's the only way that I could ever learn. That's the only way that I ever grew and was able to get better, is by looking at myself honestly and saying, you know what? You were out of line, or you were wrong, or you could have done better. And so I hope that's not too preachy, but yeah, that's kind of what I think and the way I try to look at things. Let's see. Effin, thanks. Did you edit without light or with a white light? I'm not sure what you're asking by that. I'm sorry. Yeah, the Mavic Pro is really killer, Phantom Life. Yes, Dark Souls 3. Absolutely, Delta Drones. Will I miss too much not having 4K at 60p? I don't think so. I mean, Patrick, I think that it just depends on what you want to do. I would never shoot aerial footage in 60 frames per second unless I wanted to slow it down to 24 or 30, to get true natural slow motion, especially when you're close to objects. For me, flying up high, where the movement isn't too bad, 24 frames or 30 is better. And plus, here's the other thing I almost forgot to mention. Keep in mind, if a copter is shooting at 60 megabits per second or 100 megabits per second, like the Phantom Pro 4, 60 frames eats up that 60 megabits or 100 megabits. It eats it double the amount that 30 or 24 or 25 does. So in theory, if you're shooting 24 frames or 25 per PAL, or even 30 frames, each frame is getting better processing and better encoding because you're not stressing the codec out so much. I hope that makes sense. You got 100 megabits per second to work with. If you're going to tell that codec with that 100 megabits, I want 60 frames from that 100 megabits. It's going to give you one thing. If you tell that codec, I want 24 frames from that 100 megabits, you're going to get better quality video, I think, and less banding, less artifacting and stuff like that. That's my own take on that. All right, with the ND filters. There's no trick, Eric, to figuring out perfect sharpness. The rule of thumb is don't overdo it. Less is always more. In Premiere Pro, for example, I rarely ever use over 20 to sharpen. I never go into 30 or 40 or whatever. It gets really kind of crispy, crunchy. Adony. I don't have real recommendations for night flight until I get the Phantom 4 Pro. And that's because it's kind of moot to me, and here's why. You have to have a lot of external light, like near a city or something like that. The codec and that sensor is tiny. It has very little light gathering capabilities, so it's not going to do a great job anyway you slice it. Now that may change with the Phantom 4 Pro because the sensor is larger and it should do a much better job of that. But you got to fly close to where there's ambient light, cities and stuff like that. And as far as I know, especially around here anymore, a lot of that is against the law. So oh, studio backlighting. Yeah, is that what you guys were talking about? Yeah, I had to throw some backlights back here because this camera is auto exposure, and since this was really dark back here, it was blowing my face out, and I could see where my eyeballs. It was creepy, so I threw some lights back there to balance that out. Raven Drone, ND4, ND8, ND16, ND32. I think that's a question. The most useful ND filter that I have is an ND8 and the graduated ND from Snake River Prototyping for the Phantom 3. It's graduated. It's a 16 on top and an 8 on the bottom. So the 16 part of it blocks out the bright skies and then graduates to an 8 on the bottom where the land is a little bit darker, so it balances the exposure out a little bit. But ND8 and ND16 for bright days. I've never used an ND30. I think that would be good if you were doing stuff in the snow, brightly lit snow scenes. I can't do a slow motion tutorial, I'm sorry. Yes, I do use Gaussian blur to minimize aliasing, and that's a good trick. And when you use it, just use a tiny bit, like 2%, and sometimes that will smooth things out. Yes, that's a sword in the background. I'm also a great big Lord of the Rings nerd, and I collect swords and weapons. I just love them. I love swords and knives and things like that. The things with bladed edges, I just think those are neat. Bladed edges and watches. I like time and knives. No, I don't use, Mark, I don't use waypoints, and I've yet to try them, any kind of automated flights, because I like to have the control over the copter, and I know that a good waypoint setting could give you unlimited control, especially if you could set a waypoint, and then while it was on traveling to that waypoint, say with the Phantom 4 Pro, you could, in theory, spin the copter and use that to change the angle of the camera, so it's kind of like dual operator. The waypoint's taking care of the direction it's going, but you're changing the yaw of the copter as it flies is changing the camera position. Toby, I'm not sure yet. I mentioned this a little bit last night in my goofy emergency testing of a live stream. The Phantom 4 Pro, that thing still has a problem, okay? I know, gosh, I feel terrible bringing this up. It was a hard video to make. I had a tough time making that video because I don't like to be negative and I don't like to bash things or people, anything like that, but my gut felt like this had gone on long enough. This pulsing flicker thing every second, where that iframe is resetting or whatever, it's present in the Phantom 4 III and the iterations of Phantom 3, the Phantom 4, the Phantom 4 Pro, and the Mavic to some extent. So they're doing something wrong, and I just feel like they could fix that, and it should be fixed. It's a camera, it should do one thing really well, and that's exposed properly without any kind of weird pulses and this and that. And I know one comment I heard that I understand is, what do you expect out of a $1,500 toy quad? I hear you, I do, but here's what I expect. I paid $700 for this phone. This phone shoots 4K. The exposure does not pulse and it does not flutter. It's possible, I don't think I'm asking too much, so. Let's see. Yeah, read Raven Drone's comment about course lock and home lock there. That's true. Thanks, Raven. Hello from Taiwan. Hey, Robert. Thanks, Wattage. I appreciate the compliment. Yeah, Dan D, so you're seeing this pulsing in your Phantom 4 Pro? Is that true? I see your comment there. I'm sorry to hear that. I really wish you didn't. Kevin, I record in MP4 format. MP4 is much more friendly to all platforms, Mac and PC and YouTube, and so I get pretty good results with that, so I've been sticking with that for about a year now. I have not tested the new color modes. You'll see Raven Drone is part of the chat here, and hopefully he and I can go out and test what they changed in the upgrade. I do not use polarizing filters, Tim. I think they're useless. I really do. That's just me. If somebody out there likes them, that's just me. And those are great for photography, but for video, they're not. And that's because you have to understand how a polarizing filter works really quick. A polarizing filter is only effective 90-degree angle from the sun. Meaning, if I have a polarizing filter on and the sun's here, there's no effect. There's no polarization going on. If the sun is behind me and I'm shooting here, there's no effect. The sun has to be 90 degrees from where I'm shooting. So if I'm shooting here and the sun is over there, or the sun is coming from this way and I'm shooting here, then the polarizing effect works. And it works really well. It makes skies deep blues and takes down the shine a little bit, especially water. But it's just, and with a quad moving around so much, I don't find it very useful. You end up getting if the sun's coming from here and I'm here and I shift this way, all of a sudden the sky goes blue, real deep blue, and then gets brighter again as I move that way. So, and two, I color grade my own footage, so I don't really have a need to super saturate things. I hope that answers your question. Could you do a video on the best settings for exporting out of it? Kevin, I already have a video for the best export settings out of Premiere Pro. Just check out my channel. I think it's called Best Export Settings for YouTube Upload. And if that doesn't answer your question, let me know. Eric says, have you created any presets to get starting footage to hit the place where you want it to be? Eric, I don't, and people often ask me, do I use LUTs? Because a lot of people use LUTs, and I'm totally with you. I don't use LUTs because a LUT is a good place to get you in the ballpark, I think, to get you close. but I've never ever seen a LUT or used a LUT that I could just drop on something and bam, it was done. You know, there's always some kind of tweaking afterward, futzing around. So I prefer to start from scratch. I like to look at the scopes and see exactly where my image is and what's going on, and that tells me what I need to do, and then make the adjustments from there. Now granted, there have been times where I've graded a certain set of scenes, and I'll do a color correction setting. I'll save that as a quick preset, because I know that all these were shot the same day with the same light in the same 13-14 minutes, and so then I'll apply that, you know, as my own personal preset. But I grade from scratch on everything pretty much. Who's bored? Is this boring? I don't even know. I'm just rambling. Give me some feedback. Aerial stills with an ND filter? Not necessary unless you're wanting motion blur. Let's say you're flying really low over a field. If you're wanting that dynamic movement, you know, in your shot, an ND is necessary so you can get the shutter speed way down, so when you're traveling at a certain speed, you'll get motion blur. But for general photography purposes, an ND filter is not needed, because it doesn't matter if the shutter speed is at 800 or 1500, whatever, you know. As a matter of fact, I use auto often when I take photos, just because I let it auto balance, auto expose, and bam, and I have pretty good luck with that. Let's see. Not boring. Good. I'm not boring you guys to tears. Everybody's awake. Great. Okay. Good, good, good. Patrick, I have no idea how to fly above, 15 meters on the Mavic. And to be honest with you, I'm too scared to do that. Here in the States, I don't know where you were from. I forget. I'm sorry. But it's 400 feet max. And, there are already enough folks out there doing crazy stuff, and it would be my luck, you know. I would try to fly my copter at 600 feet, and I'd be that guy that hits a helicopter, and, you know, so I don't even go there. That's a good question. I fly 3D solo with GoPro Hero 4 Black, and what are your thoughts on the GoPro after using DJI cams? I'll show you. Hold on. This is my trusty Phantom 2 Rex. Rex has been with me. I've had him the longest out of any of my quads that I haven't crashed. But I keep him because he can fly the GoPro Hero 4. And in response to your question, I keep it because if you point straight on with the GoPro, I can't stand that awful fisheye lens. But if you point it straight forward, that horizon stays clean and center, but you get this incredible wide view if I ever want something that's an expansive wide shot. And to be honest with you, as of today, the GoPro line of cameras do shoot better video as far as clarity, color balance, and codec. The GoPro cameras do shoot better video than any of the Phantom 3 line of quads and cameras, and the Phantom 4. We'll see about the Phantom 4 Pro. That's probably going to change. GoPro's a great little camera, it is, but I can't deal with the fisheye thing, so. I never heard back from DJI. Nope. Still mum's the word. They're just they don't know. I'm this crazy guy that makes videos on YouTube probably, and that's okay. 120 meters in Australia. Okay. Thanks for answering some questions there, Raven. Yeah, Mark, I agree with that. I'm assuming you guys can see these comments too, that I don't have to repeat each one, I think. Let me know if I'm wrong about that. I'm restricted to 2.7. My PC can't handle 4K. What frame rate gives cinematic look? It's the same thing for 2.7K. 24 frames per second, and your goal is to shoot with a shutter speed of 50. Or 25 frames per second if it's PAL, but your shutter speed is the goal is to be right at 50, double your frame rate to get the correct amount of natural motion blur. When you guys go to the movies, all of us, any movie that you go to, pretty much 99% of the movies you go see are all shot in 24 frames per second. Let's see. Good comment, Dustin. Thank you. Mixed reviews for saturation, contrast, and sharpness with the Phantom 3P. Have made any adjustments since your first couple? No, I still get great results with that -3, -2, -3. I think it is. No, I haven't, and it's. I think it's good that there's mixed results and mixed feelings about it. We've all got our own opinions on what works best for us, and certainly just because I say something works doesn't mean it's law or true. So I think it's kind of cool that we all have our own preferences with that. But no, I'm still shooting with that exact same profile and still getting great results with that. All right, I'm just kind of checking some other things out here. Marcelo, learned a bunch of tricks from you. Thanks a lot. I have to tell you, no Premiere Pro for me. I switched to DaVinci Resolve. Have you tried? Yes, I have tried DaVinci, and it's great. I just prefer Premiere Pro. It's so far it's not shown me any limitations, so I've stuck with it. The Inspire 2 line, Raven, those cameras are flat out serious. I'm going to see one too. I'll give you guys a little sneak peek real quick. I'm hoping to do a video soon where I go to my friend Kevin's place. This is my buddy that flies the he's got 2 octocopters that fly a Red Epic and a Red Dragon. Each of these copters with camera and gear and everything is about a $70,000 setup US. He's ordering 2 of the Inspire 2s, tricked out with everything in them. So we'll see about that. That'll be a cool video, I think. Yes, Stravos, I have seen the short. If it's the same one I'm thinking of, but yeah, I think I have seen that. Can you show us any commercial work with those? Toby, can you show any of your commercial work for those who are interested in going from hobby to professional? Yeah, I can. I'm trying to think what the best way to do that. I don't have my book or my reel. I keep everything backed off on a hard drive. My reel that has my TV spots and all that stuff. But maybe at some point I can maybe do a video about, I don't know, video editing in general as a career, as a career path. Maybe that's what you're asking, and then I could show stuff. But I have done, to answer your question better, since I don't have samples I can show right away, I've done television, and I still do to this day, TV spots for banks, super corporate spots. I do TV spots for amusement parks with rides and roller coasters and things like that. Literally stuff with, tire and auto places. I do spots for, I probably can't say it out loud for confidentiality reasons, but if you guys like fast food, I work with one of the biggest well-known fast food places on planet Earth. I'm sure everyone has had their fries and burgers and all that good stuff. So, I do quite a mixture of stuff, and every now and then I get to shoot aerial stuff for those clients, which is really fun. Follow up with the FPV questions. When I shoot 24 frames of playback, I see a lot of stuttering on sideways pan. Oh, that is okay. Question is, when I shoot 24 frames per second on playback, I see a lot of stuttering on sideways pan, even on a slow pan. You got to be really careful when you do a pan or a side movement, okay? Especially at 24 frames per second, you've got to go super, super slow. I'm hoping you're using an ND filter, because without an ND filter with a super high shutter speed, you're definitely going to get that choppy, stuttering. But yeah, a side pan is really difficult. You got to go really slow, and that's what's happening. That stuttering it's because the sensor is drawing really fast those images, milliseconds, or whatever, however fast that is, but super fast. And if you're moving too fast, what happens is when that sensor has started to draw up here and come down to the scan, by the time before it reaches the bottom, you've already moved. So the sensor has to start all over again. That's why you see rolling shutter. If you ever noticed a shot when you pan the camera really quick and you freeze it, like a telephone pole or a perfectly straight pole will be leaning like this. That's why. That's rolling shutter. I hope that answers your question. No, I've talked to my friend Kevin quite a bit about the Inspire 2 and the X5R. He's got two Inspires with the X5R right now, and no, those cameras are rock solid, but they are a beast. I mean, the memory cards for those things I think are about $700, and yeah, it's incredible. But no, there's no problem with that on those. Jonathan Scruggs, McDonald's? Maybe. Well, hey, Bobster. No, I haven't messed around with the Phantom 4 Pro yet, Bob. Not at all yet. I'm looking forward to doing that because I know it's a lot different than the Mavic. So. Yes, I have seen the documentary, Efren, on BBC Planet Earth 2. Yeah, those aerials are unreal. See, I think I've reached the bottom of the comments. I guess I want to ask you guys a question real quick. Obviously, you come to my channel because you're drone enthusiasts and film enthusiasts, and want to edit and color your own footage, learn better techniques and that kind of thing. I'm thinking about expanding my channel to include more things about life and doing things and camera and I don't know, things like that. I say things like that because I'm not 100% sure, okay? I got to a point with the drone stuff a few months back when I had that really bad crash where I was kind of searching, for things to talk about. You get to a point where you feel like you've covered everything, and I really look and rely upon you guys to help me, understand what people want to see, what you guys want to see, because I may think I know what you want to see, but I'm not you. I don't know what you want to see. And I need that advice from you guys. I need to know what you guys are hungry to learn or talk about or what have you. But like I said, I'm thinking about expanding the channel and covering things beyond drones, whether that's just life kind of things or perhaps different camera kind of things. I mean, there's a lot of channels out there, so I wish I could do something that was fairly unique. But anyway, give me your thoughts on that. What would you like to talk about? And it doesn't necessarily have to be drones. I think I'd like to, like I said, broaden it a little bit. But I wanted you guys to know that because you guys are the ones you're the reason I'm here. And I really appreciate it. I really do. I love each and every one of you guys. You're great. So I'm off my soapbox now. Sound and audio. Yeah, sound and audio is wicked. Sound and audio is tough. It's funny. It takes me longer to compose a piece of music. You know, for one of my videos, it takes me longer to compose a piece of music than it does to do an edit for that video. My videos on YouTube take me anywhere from 6 hours to 18 or 20 hours to put together. You know, the day that Raven and I went out and flew, did tests and all that, you know, that was 3 or 4 hours there of flight, going back, culling the footage, putting all that together, starting the edit, the cuts, picking the music out. And so that one video that's, I think it's like 12 minutes long or something like that, that one video was about 16 hours of work before I could hit the upload button. Let's see. You could do well with teaching how to evoke emotions and moods. Well, thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. Unless you're joking. Which do you think is better for the P4P, a large iPad or the P4P Plus with a brighter screen? Hey, that's a great question. You know what, Bob, sir? I've already decided I don't want the P4 Plus with the screen, and here's why. I bought an iPad, you know, for the Phantom 3, and I bought a cellular iPad so I didn't have to use my phone as a hotspot to link to the iPad's Wi-Fi, so the iPad, you know, could use maps, you know, and be live with that. So I'm sticking with my iPad because it's cellular and I don't have to do that. I saw an interview with the DJI representative, and that Plus screen that comes with the Phantom 4 Pro Plus is Wi-Fi, has Wi-Fi, but it has no kind of cellular data to it. So you'd still have to use your phone as a hotspot or an iPad as a mobile hotspot for that Plus screen. And it's like one less thing I don't want to have to think about. Tim, yeah, I'm thinking about a daily vlog kind of thing. I don't know about daily, you know, I don't want to be like Casey Neistat or Philip DeFranco or those kind of guys. I love those guys and I admire them, and they're incredibly talented folks, and I've learned a lot from them. But, you know, I've got a full-time job, and like I said, you know, when I post them during the week, that's another 6 to 12 hours I've worked that night after work to get, you know, a video uploaded. So I don't think I could do it. I think I'd lose my mind. But yeah, maybe a daily vlog kind of thing. Every other day. Mark, PM me on Facebook, I have a sword to send you. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. What brand of ND filter do you use? The one I use, a dark blue tint to the image, is hard to remove. Adoni, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Adoni, that's a great question. The Polar Pro filters are great. They're good filters, they really are. But they do not compare to the Snake River prototyping glass quality, in my humble opinion. There's nothing wrong with Polar Pro filters at all. They're great filters. But the glass quality of the Snake River prototyping's filter, they are unreal. I mean, these guys understand optics. They really do, and they care. They really care. The killer customer service. I mean, they even go so far as, like, when you take the Snake River prototyping filters apart to clean the lens, if you pull the lens out and look at it, it's even got a blacked edge around it to ensure that no light can leak in there and, you know, tamper with the image that's being recorded. So I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's true, Chris. Let's see, Dustin. You mentioned not seeing every day. Yeah, Dustin, who's commenting here. Dustin sent some footage to me from his Phantom 4 Pro, and 4 good clips, and I didn't see a hint of that reset pulse in any of the clips that he sent. So that's a great thing. Dustin, I think it's hit and miss because my Phantom 3 doesn't do it all the time. It's usually bright scenes, and it's the shadow areas in bright scenes when I'm filming. I don't know if you guys downloaded the clip I have attached to that one video. That's a great example of it. You know, if you'll look in the shadows of the trees in that shot, you'll see this pulse, 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 pulse kind of thing where it's getting brighter and darker really quick, but it's random. And that's what makes it so frustrating. You know, there's been so many times I've been working on an edit and been so excited, this one beautiful shot, and I'll cut it in and lay it in, and then I'll look at it and be like, great, it's pulsing, you know, and I can't use it. So it's hit or miss, which makes it hard to diagnose, I know, but I didn't see it in your footage. I don't know, Dustin. Maybe 60 frames per second could have something to do with it versus 24 frames per second. It technically stresses the codec more to shoot 60 frames, but I don't. Who knows? You know, I wish I was smarter about this kind of stuff. I really do. Toby, Premiere video editing and sound in the industry. Yeah, that would be cool, Toby. Do a tutorial using your P3P in the studio for old time's sake. Yeah, I should do that, Dan. It would be fun. Was joking. Teach you a lot about technique, creative fields. Well, I appreciate that, Bob. You know, it's back to that one video that I posted about don't be afraid to fail. I hope that video wasn't rude, but a friend of mine once told me, don't be afraid to suck. And he was very kind to say that to me, but what he meant was, when you start to get into something, you start doing something that you are not used to doing, like anything else in life, you're not going to be perfect at it. And I would get way too discouraged. You know, if I didn't nail it, if I wasn't perfect, I'd get discouraged, and I'd have a tendency to just throw my hands up. I'm done, you know. And it was because I was wimping out, you know. That's me. I'm not talking about anybody else here. I had a tendency to just kind of go, huh. And he taught me that it's okay to suck sometimes, you know, and you're going to, so get used to it. But that's the beauty of learning. Again, it's back to that brutal honesty. You know, when I talk about learning film editing and cutting on my own, and now I've started a whole department at the advertising agency, and we do this for clients for good money, and you got to be honest with yourself, and that's hard to do, man. And I'm not great at it. You know, when you sit for 8 hours and you're doing an edit and you've worked all weekend on something, here's what happens. This kiss of death things happen. Your edits become precious to you. You know what I mean? They're so precious. And what happens is it's very difficult to look at them objectively. You know, there's been many that I've done that way, and they just weren't working right. And I finally had to look at the edit and admit to myself, this kind of sucks. It's just not there, and that's okay. It's okay. Yep, you've spent 10 hours, but it's not there. Start over again. Keep trying. And I promise, start and finish a job. That's the most important thing. I used to start so many things and I never finished them. You know, I had 19 things going on. None of them finished. Start it and finish it. Start a simple edit. Have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Pull it full circle, and I promise you, wonderful things will happen. You know, wonderful things will happen. You'll see things differently, and you'll learn so much more. And I'm rambling now, so I'll quit. But man, keep at it. Hey, Michael from Denmark. Motion Designer 3D. But your vids gave me a head start as a drone newbie. Cool. Thanks, Michael. That's interesting wattage. Okay. Pulsage in the green. Yeah, the one edit to rule them all. Nice one, Raven. Well, let's see, guys. We've been going on about 47 minutes now. So unless there's something that you guys haven't asked or you want to ask, I think we'll probably wrap it up unless you start screaming in the comments. But I think I've answered quite a few things, so let me know if there's anything else that you guys want to add or something we haven't talked about. Otherwise, I think we'll call it a night, if that's okay. Yes, I do think GoPro is in trouble. Yep. I do. And I think it started a long time ago when GoPro and DJI kind of split paths. GoPro had a whole new industry they could lean to and start marketing to, and DJI decided to make their own camera. I think that had a lot to do with it, personally. You're welcome, Aerial Photo. Yeah, I appreciate it, Kevin. Thanks a bunch, man. You're welcome, Tim. I know Google Hangouts could be cool. Thanks, Bob. You're welcome, Adony. I appreciate it, man. Thank you, Roger. All right. Well, I'm working on another video for you guys, and I should have that finished within the next couple of days or so. I'm going to start doing a questions and answer video too, I think. I'll post a comment in a video on the end of it to say send your question and answers in this video. In the next video, I'll have questions answered with that video. I think that's kind of a cool way to do it. But got a couple more things I'm working on for you guys, and trying to keep it interesting and fun and informative, and trying not to have everything be the same old thing every time, because it's tough. It's hard to address something new and different that you haven't covered before, and I'm trying to keep things spiced up a little bit and give you a reason to come back. I'm not much good if I'm rambling about the same stuff over and over again. That's kind of why I want to expand the channel a little bit. So I'll PM you, Mark. Do these go up on your channel when they're done? Yes, they do. I can set it. I'm going to set this one to upload it. It'll take about 30 minutes for it to encode, because I know some guys, if I do another one of these, it'll be earlier in the day. A lot of European subscribers really bums me out that they can't watch it because it's 3 o'clock in the morning there or 4 o'clock in the morning there. But yes, this will upload as a regular video about an hour after we quit here. My full-time job, Kevin, is a senior art director, editor, and sound designer for an advertising agency. I love doing sound design to animation. That's fun. Starting in the drone business, I have experience with drones but never worked with. Patrick, I would take little bites at a time, and go from there. There's a lot to learn with drones. It really is. And I thought I had this figured out the first drone I bought. I thought I was like, yeah, I got this. I didn't have anything. I had nothing. I mean, gosh, I found that out the first week. But just in little bits. I hope that answers your question. Thanks, JMB575N. UK, it's late there. Thank you for staying up so late. Wow. Build relationships. Yep, absolutely. Build relationships and be willing to work with other people. All right, guys. Well, we're at 51 minutes, so I am going to wrap it up. In closing, I want to say this to you guys. You don't know how much I appreciate you guys, your comments. I do have the best subscribers on the planet, and I do really love you guys. I do. You guys send me the kindest thoughts and thanking me for this and thanking me for that, and I appreciate that. But this is mutually beneficial. I get the biggest kick out of teaching something that I learned from someone else, and I'm just trying to pass it on. But I want you guys to know how much I appreciate you, and I don't take you for granted. And I hope the channel, keeps growing, and I hope it is successful, and that's kind of my goal. But I got to keep it fun, I got to keep it honest, and I got to keep it lively and real, and unique. And I'm going to need your all's help doing that too, because you're the voice. You tell me what's terrible, and you tell me what's great, and I appreciate that. I'm wide open to criticism, constructive criticism, But anyway, I appreciate it. Love you guys to death, and I will talk to all of you very soon. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend with me tonight. Take care. Bye.